Hi everyone, welcome to Traveling Misknits. My name is Pia and I am so happy that you're joining me here in Texas today. Today I have a couple of hits to share and also a definitive miss. I do think that having a miss every now and then is a part of the creative process, and this particular miss I think I will be able to learn something from. So of course I will be sharing that as well. I am wearing a hit. It's one of my older patterns. It's my snowflower vest that I knit a couple of years ago. This one I knit out of some Hiddesvåg tinde, which makes it just cozy and squishy and warm and with a slight halo. This wool does, as you knit it and wear it, and the heat from the body gives it just a slight halo, and it is just so pretty. I am a big fan of that yarn. I am gonna link the pattern for the snowflower vest in the description box below the video, together with patterns for the things that I will be talking about. So let's start with some hits. One is definitely my Better World dress that I decided to make as a summer top rather than a full dress this time around. I have made this as a dress last summer and I love the thing, and I decided to go ahead and crochet up a shorter version that I could use as a summer top over my cut-off jeans and swimsuit that is my summer uniform. I worked up the last 4 balls of yarn that I had with me just as planned. I then thought that I would finish off the top once I get back to Denmark, where I have some extra yarn waiting for me. But I actually think that the length is perfect now. My hip bone is here, so it falls just below the hip bone. I do think that this is the correct length for this top. When I come back, I am gonna finish the round. I ran out of yarn in the middle of a round, so I'm gonna finish off that round. Maybe I'm gonna do some sort of edging. I don't really know. I haven't decided if I want to do that or not. Maybe it should just be like this. I'll figure that out later. But yeah, this is a yarn guzzler. This top has 500 grams of fingering weight cotton in it, so it does take up a lot of yarn. I have used a mercerized cotton, which means that it will keep its shape. It's not going to grow tremendously. I did block this one just to double check the length. As I was getting closer to my preferred length, I stopped. I changed out my stitch markers to some plastic markers, and I blocked the whole thing. And again, just like the dress, it did not grow. It retained its shape, which I really like. Usually working in cotton, it is just a little bit, how much is this gonna grow when I wash and block it? But with the mercerized cotton, in my experience, you're gonna be fine. It's gonna retain the shape that it has when it's off your needle. So yeah, I am looking forward to finishing the last round, figuring out if I need to put on some edging, and then I can call this a finished object. We're not quite there yet, but almost. It has been a pleasure working up this top. I really love this pattern. It's beautiful. You have all these intricate details. It is a lot of fun to work with. You have to pay attention, of course, but there's nothing complicated, nothing difficult in this. If you know the basic stitches, you can definitely go ahead and make this dress, or as in this case, top. So I highly recommend the pattern. I don't think it'll be the last Better World dress that I make. I really love wearing it, and as I said, I love working it up. So definitely a great hit that can now go into my suitcase and lay there and wait for me to get back to Denmark so that I can finish it off. And another hit, my Stromboli. I finished the Stromboli. I don't remember if it's called just Stromboli or Stromboli tee, Stromboli top. It's a pattern from Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks, and it has been a pleasure. I have knit this exactly to pattern, which is not something that I do a lot. I almost always make modifications to the pattern, regardless if it's my own pattern or if it's someone else's. I will always make some modifications, but not this time. I knit this exactly to pattern. I knit a size 2. I used, 2 full skeins of a regular fingering weight sock yarn. I think it was an 80-20. Some sock yarn that I dyed up myself a long time ago. And then I broke into the 3rd skein. Did I use maybe 30-40 grams, something like that for the 4th skein? And maybe not even that, because it was basically the sleeves that was the 3rd skein. And as you can see, alternating or introducing the 2nd skein went really well on the front side. On the back, there is definitely something to be seen right up here. I did introduce the new skein down here. I did knit 2 rows in the old skein, 2 in the new one. But yeah, you can definitely see some color changes. It does not bother me. I don't think it's horrible. Plus, it's on the back. I'm not going to be looking at that. And as I said, on the front, I lucked out. You cannot even see that 2 different skeins has been used. There is one thing that I would have done differently if I had stopped to think, stopped to read the pattern through. And it is up here at the neckline. If I had read through the pattern and looked at the charts, I would have decreased 1 stitch less for the neckline, allowing me to continue half of this pattern section all the way up. So you see, you have this pattern section here, the lace, and it is like 2 halves that are mirrored. And if I had decreased just 1 stitch less for the neckline, I would have been able to continue half of the pattern all the way up to the shoulder. I think that would have been better, but I'm not ripping this back, definitely not. I did not take the time to read properly through the pattern, to check the charts, and it's not something that's going to bother me at all. It's just this little detail that I would have done differently if I had known about it. That's it. I have blocked it, which also means that the lace have opened up, and yeah, I am loving this. I have tried it on. It fits me exactly the way I wanted it to fit. It is very, very drapey, and it's also very light. I am sure that I'm going to be able to use this in the summer as a summer tee, summer top. I really love it. And I love the sleeves, that they're wide and open, nothing constricting, nothing too warm. So definitely a hit, and I am looking forward to wearing this beauty. Miss of the week, I cannot show you because I ripped everything out. I got so upset with myself, so I ripped everything out. But I can show you the ingredients for the mess, and I can share the story. So, a couple of weeks ago, my daughter-in-law and I went to Joann's, and I fell head over heels for these Karen cakes. They're called blossom cakes, and it is this mix of cotton and acrylic yarn, and it does have a definite halo to it. I love the long, slow color changes. I love the halo. I love the softness. And I bought 4 cakes, deciding to make a blanket out of this. Then I went to meet some of my lovely Texas friends up at the McKinney Knittery, and one of them, Denise, was working on a scarf in a beautiful Tunisian crochet stitch. It was so lovely. It was puffy. It felt luxurious with these puff stitches, and it was so pretty. And the back side was actually even more interesting than the front, which in my opinion makes it a perfect stitch for a blanket. Denise showed me how to. I took a little video just to help me refresh my memory. And yeah, I was determined. I even think I talked about it last week, how I tried to stop myself because I didn't bring I have a set of interchangeable Tunisian crochet hooks. I didn't bring the set, and I was like, I can wait. I can cast this on once I'm home. I don't need another crochet hook. And after a couple of days, I went ahead and I ordered a hook. This is the Knit Pro. It is a lovely hook. Look at the head, how it's just so beautifully shaped. It is so easy to work with, and it is it's wooden, but it's very, very smooth. There's going to be no, I mean, some wooden hooks can be just a little bit too grippy, but this is super smooth. It is as smooth as the Lantern Moon hooks that I have at home. So I ordered this, and I was waiting for it. I was looking out the window every 30 minutes, and finally it arrived without a cord. So I had to put in an order for the cord, and back to the waiting. The cord arrived really fast, and then I could start. And I chained until I was like, yeah, this is blanket sized, like 1.5 meters. And then I started working the Denise stitch. And I just couldn't. It was just so difficult. It was so fiddly. And I decided, no, that's because it's the first row. The first row is always terrible. So I went all the way through and I did the return pass alone. I locked myself in a room alone because I could feel tension rising. And I started working another forward pass. There is something wrong with my technique when I do Tunisian crochet. There just is. And it's working almost okay for me on the forward pass, but on the return pass, it's like the stitches don't slide. I don't have the correct grip on the hook. I don't know what the problem is, but that's what I mean about learning something from this fail. I am gonna find all the video tutorials that I can on Tunisian crochet to figure out what I'm doing wrong, because I do have another lingering Tunisian crochet whip at home, and it is lingering for the exact same reason. The return pass is just too fiddly. It's the hook seems to swivel in my hand and always be pointing in the wrong direction, meaning that I get caught in my stitches, and the stitches that just don't slide. I have to like mess with them all the time. So I am definitely doing something wrong. Add to that the fact that the stitches I was creating did not look like Denise's stitches. They were not beautiful, puffy, luxurious blanket stitches. No, no, no. They were clumsy, uneven, just plain messy stitches. It looked terrible. And I ripped it out. And right after ripping it out, I was like, no, I should have kept this to share it on the podcast. It was horrible. Just take my word for it. It was horrible. So yeah, I definitely have a plan to seek out more information about Tunisian crochet, because you can do so much with this technique. I really love the fabric that you're creating. To me, the fabric looks like a mix between something crocheted and something woven. It has this woven texture to it. I really, really love it, but I do not love the process, and that's gotta be me doing it wrong. So I am definitely going to try to learn from my mistakes, and hopefully one day I can make my Denise blanket. I have the yarn for sure. The only other thing that I've been working on this week has been my socks, and I am so proud. I am so proud. I finished one sock. Look at her. She even has a heel. What do you know? I wish I had sock blockers here, because this looks really wonky, but you can at least appreciate the colors and the beautiful yarn. And the other sock is a full tube. I did talk about last week how I was afraid that one ball of yarn was not going to be enough for a full pair, and it definitely wasn't. I did use another ball, like just a pattern scroll, regular gray, for the cuffs, the heel, and the toes, but I also put in a full section down here. This is not part of the stripy ball of yarn. This is the same yarn that I'm using for cuffs, heels, and toes, that I just added a stripe. And I did that on both of the socks, and that meant that I had enough for a full pair of socks for myself in just one ball. if I'm gonna work, oh, well, I am gonna work with the pattern scroll self-striping yarns again, but I will of course make sure to get 2 balls the next time. There's gonna be loads of leftovers, but that's okay. I can always find something to do with leftovers. But I am loving these socks. I love that they're sisters. They're not twins, they're sisters. And I really like how the 2 colors that stand out the most to me, which is the red and the mauve here, black and white mauve, that they fall at this approximately the same places. So yeah, very proud, very, very happy with my socks. I hope that these are going to be more sturdy than socks, the socks that I have knit from hand-dyed sock yarn. The yarn itself feels a lot sturdier. It's also a heavier yarn. I am using a small needle. I'm using size 2 millimeters, which I think is a US size 0. That's a thin needle for a relatively heavy sock yarn. But it does give me a material that feels very sturdy. If I wear through this, and I always wear through my socks on the ball of the foot, never at the heels or the toes. The ball of the foot is where I wear through my socks. If it happens, even in this yarn, then I am gonna, for future socks, I'm gonna weave in an extra thread after the knitting, just going up and down in all of my stitches, weaving in an extra thread in the same color as the yarn of the sock. It's a tip that I got from a lovely viewer. Thank you, Susanna. For sure, that is gonna make the sock. Make the sock a lot more resilient. Another tip that I got, which I'm also considering adapting, is for this piece here, the ball of the foot, adding a sewing thread to the yarn. It's going to be so thin that it doesn't show. It's not going to mess with my gauge or anything, but it is definitely going to make it a lot stronger. So those are some of the things that I'm going to do if this is not enough. I am hoping that choosing a sturdier yarn and going down a needle size is going to be enough. If not, I have these 2 tricks in my toolbox. So I am excited to start wearing these. I am going to pick up for the heel on sock number 2 today so that I can wear them tomorrow. Also a trick, if you're not used to working an afterthought heel, because I was not, and the first time I did them, I was like, where do you put them in? And I was trying to guesstimate where to put it in. But then again, a lovely viewer came to my rescue. She said, listen, the heel that you put in is going to be exactly the same as your toe. So what you do is you measure your whole foot. Mine is 25 centimeters. Then you measure your toe. My toe here is 5.5 centimeters. You know that your heel is going to be the same, so you can then subtract 2 times 5.5, which is going to be 11. Subtract that from the 25, which is the length of the foot. 14 centimeters I have to measure from where I start the toe and to the point where I put in my afterthought heel. I hope that made sense. It's the explanation that has made the most sense to me and has made it so much easier for me to put in afterthought heels. So thank you for that. Yeah, and I don't have anything else on my needles. I have a heel to do on this, and then I'm going to be empty-handed. It's not that I don't have options. I have lots of options. I brought 2 more sweaters quantities of yarn when I came over here. Plus I bought a sweaters quantity, the beautiful Rerum Natura that I showed you last week. But I'm not feeling sweaterish. It's like my sweater mojo is gone. So I honestly don't know what I'm gonna cast on. For sure, I am gonna cast on something today because I can't have nothing on my needles. That would drive me bonkers for sure. But I'm feeling very curious. What am I gonna cast on? This is something I don't even remember having been in this situation before, having no plans and just almost empty needles. I will keep you posted. For sure there's going to be something, and I will keep you posted. If you follow me on Instagram, that's where I'm going to post real time when I make a decision. If you are not into Instagram, I will let you know next week where I hope to see you again. I will be coming from Denmark next week. We are leaving on Monday. And leaving is never fun. It's just, my son is just such a crappy kid moving away. He should stay at home. But yeah, saying goodbye is never fun. But then again, it also means saying hello to the people that I love back in Denmark. And I am definitely excited for that. I do hope to see you next week with some kind of new cast on. Knowing me, it could be multiple new cast ons. That would definitely not be out of character for me, just going crazy casting on left and right. We shall see. Until next week, stay happy, stay safe, and keep knitting.